Hey, Styles here. A few thoughts on the Conor McGregor situation. If you guys don't know, Conor McGregor is a fighter in the UFC. He's one of the best fighters there. He had this massive fight with Floyd Mayweather Jr., which I did a video on previous about that. And Floyd Mayweather Jr. might be the most dominant athlete in his particular sport. I think in any of their particular sport in the last 20 years since he went undefeated, 50-0. And that 50th fight was this mega fight against Conor McGregor. Now, Floyd Mayweather got 300 million direct from that fight for about 30 minutes of work in that fight. I know there's a lot of prep before it and all this thing, and you go into tours and you're hyping it up. But the actual work on the field, on the actual work of the day, 30 minutes around there in the ring, $300 million. Conor McGregor got $100 million for that same time. Now, Conor McGregor hasn't fought in the UFC where he was fighting before, for I think 15 months or something. His belts were stripped, but some occurrence happened where someone in his camp, these fighters normally train together in camps, and somebody in his fight had some beef, was fighting or had an argument with somebody else. He flew into the United States of America from Ireland, where he's from, got into this stadium, into I think somewhere in Brooklyn, somewhere in New York. He got in there, got in an altercation with people. There's film on it, there's footage on it. People in the bus filming. He's people outside filming. Him and a couple of his goons go in there. And He picks up this dolly for like moving around like heavy things. Throws it at the window of this bus. The bus shatters. I guess some of the fighters who were supposed to fight on Saturday, just tomorrow, one of them got cut in the face. There's some fighters in there. Rose Namajunas, I think, was being mentioned by Dana White, who's the owner and runner of the UFC. Was talking about how she was a little put back because these people are assaulting you. You don't know what's going to happen in this situation. Things are being thrown around. And Dana White's just talking about how this is a ridiculous situation. It's never Nothing like this has ever happened. Conor McGregor has turned himself into the police. People are filing lawsuits. He might be charges filed. So at least a 1 year suspension. But we're talking about this mega fight of Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. in the UFC instead of the boxing ring, which I think Conor would have really destroyed him because there's so many other things in mixed martial arts versus just boxing. But anyway, Conor McGregor himself. Conor McGregor is he's a cocky guy. He's a guy that a lot of people looked at him and said, "Look, this guy came from the hood. He came from the equivalent of the hood, like the inner city areas in the United States of America, the most grimy hood where rappers and hip hop artists come out of. That's the equivalent of what Conor McGregor came out of. And he went from there and became a multi-billionaire. He's a brash guy. Is it called him money? No, notorious. I don't think he's just using that notorious. I'm sure there is some of that nod also to Notorious B.I.G. from the hood. And you have that, he has that culture. And this is what I'm trying to talk about is with this culture, there's this thing when black people do something, African Americans do something, or just people will say, excuse my language, you can take the nigger out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of the nigger. They say this about black people in general. And one thing I think isn't necessarily said as much, because I guess there's not really many examples for it, but with Conor McGregor, you can take the McGregor out of the hood, but you can't take the you can't take the hood out of the McGregor. Sorry, you can take the McGregor out of the hood, but you can't take the McGregor out of the. Keep saying it wrong. You can take the McGregor out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of the McGregor. Like that might be part of who the guy is. The fact that some of these people, especially when you come to fight sports, the people who are like, yes, I am electing to choose a job. I mean, when you have something like American football, you have something like basketball, you have something like, when it goes to baseball, again, that's a different thing. It's a competitive thing. But when you get more closer to these combat sports, collision sports, you look at some of the mentalities of football players, and I've talked about that in a previous video about how football players understand this is a collision sport. We sacrifice our bodies for this. We put ourselves in danger. When you get into fight sports, where people, both the females and the males, are actually deciding to go out there and in combat sports, the mentality that these people have is different. I'm like, how would you actually go out there? Why would you be the one throwing the things? You're worth $100 million. You just made $100 million just a few like 2 years ago or something, less than 2 years ago, and you're out there being filmed by all these people throwing things at a bus. Like you can't, you got to stop that. Why can't he have boys do it? He had like 15 people with him. Have somebody else do that. Have somebody else catch the charge. Have somebody else in that group even tell him, "I'm gonna catch a charge from you." Watch some of those rap videos, that notorious stuff. Watch some hip hop videos. Hip hop artists are talking about, "I got people to catch bodies for me." Like if I need something grimy done, I'm not doing it. Pay somebody else to do it. One of my boys, one of my girls are gonna do it for me. Like Anyway, so I wonder if that's going to come out. This thing is an unfolding situation. A lot more is going to come out for it. But Christ, like, you should watch the film, watch the video if you can find it. But let me know what you guys think about this thing. How that hood thing, certain jobs that people take. This is, I think, the whole, like, this Dave Chappelle thing, when keeping it real goes wrong. I think this is when keeping it real goes exactly as expected. What do you expect from some certain people? I'm more surprised when you find somebody who's like a fighter or something. You're like, hey, this guy is very well adjusted and nice and calm. He doesn't really seem to have this anger issues with him, or he's not really prone to actually getting outbursts. Because it's like, look, people who are down to fight like that, they're gonna fight like that. I mean, what do you expect? It's not that surprising to me. What do you guys think? Do you think there's a double standard there, with like the whole like, when black people do this, like, oh, that's just how black people behave. But when white people do it, do you think people don't actually go more to the race and ask like the background of the person? And yeah, I'm just showing like different neighborhoods, different kind of environments, kind of result in same sort of people. Yeah, the people might look different in one place, but there's hoods everywhere. There's hoods in Kenya where it's all black people, and then there's good places in Kenya where there's all white people. I mean, all black people living in those good upper class areas. The kids who come out of there are going to be in different ways. The parenting ways, the way you parent your kids, single parent households, in certain environments, whether that's in the hood, in the inner city in the United States of America, or some borough or something in Ireland, you're going to have the same kind of questionable people coming out of the questioning parenting kind of environments that's going to be challenging to the people that come out of there. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of touch on this topic. And I've been watching a lot of these WWE things, like this podcast by Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was a wrestler, sports entertainment type things, where people understand there's some scripted parts of it, where there's like heat, real heat, where they talk about, this is, I really don't like this person. If I see him at like a Denny's or at some restaurant, I'm not going to talk to him. Versus the scripted one where it's like the kayfabe thing, don't break kayfabe. I think kayfabe, I don't know what the term kayfabe is named that way, but it just means not breaking character, where like in public, if you're setting up to going to fight Undertaker versus Stone Cold, he's going to fight in the Royal Rumble, if they're at an event in public just walking around, they're supposed to stay in character and have that anger, you know, if they're at like a signing or some other thing. So that maintains, so they keep that heat where like, my character's not supposed to like this person. When it came to the whole run-up for Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor, people were wondering if this is like a real thing. Do they really hate each other? Do they really have this heat? And I think they're both showmen. They were both kind of selling up the thing. But yeah, what do you guys think about the real kind of beef? Do you think when it comes to boxing, when it comes to mixed martial arts, is that a lot more real than something like when you have it in the world wrestling entertainment, sports entertainment? And do you think there's a problem if it's more real in that way? I think the world wrestling entertainment is still very popular and very entertaining, and you can still get stuff out of that. Like when you watch a movie, when you watch a film, you understand these are actors, they're acting, playing a part, but that's not really, like, they don't really hate each other. I mean, some cases they do, but yeah. So let me know what you guys think about that. Do you think the actual beef between these two people was actually real? Because somebody was pointing out that part of the reason that Floyd Mayweather Conor McGregor fight might actually happen, first of all, Floyd Mayweather likes money, he likes fame. If you're the kind of mentality where you like fighting, you've been doing it for this long, you've had the energy to put it towards that way. I talked about this with people like Michael Jordan. People are like, why didn't he retire earlier instead of coming back and having the drop-off years? Well, to have the mentality to be a Michael Jordan, to strive to the top like that, you have a mentality where you're like, I'm not just going to sit at home and do other things and play golf. I want to be on the basketball court. I want to be competitive. So they're saying Floyd Mayweather was actually touched by some of the things that Conor said. They understood, yeah, we're trying to sell the tickets up, trying to big up this fight, but he was actually offended by some of these things. Add to the fact that he's actually a fighter. He actually wants to fight. He actually wants to go out there and prove people wrong that, yeah, I can still do this. That would actually have gotten him out there. And this could be the same thing with Conor McGregor. Maybe he actually is a guy who's just like, I got to be the fighting. I got to be out there. got to be doing these things. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, and yeah, like, share, and subscribe. Links below to the merchandise store. Also Patreon, you can help me out if you like the stuff that I'm making. Let me know what you guys think about this. When did you hear about this? Are you a fan of Conor? Are you a fan of Floyd? Do you think it's going to happen? Do you think it's a fan of fight sports? Do you think this is a pointless thing? You have no idea who these people are? Yeah. Goodbye.